this is the pleasure of a lifetime. I've been looking forward to this panel. I have 4 panels, but this is the one that excites me the most. Would you like something to sit on? No? Okay. You can sit on your knees if you want. Good. Just a little bit of the origin story of this panel. When Christopher asked me what topics I would like to propose for panels this year in September, I naturally consulted with a special advisor, Maximilian Wolff, and he said, you should do something on children and the news, because we talk about the news a lot at home, and he sees a lot of the news, and he thought that it was an underrepresented topic, and since he's been coming for 3 years now to the Journalism Festival, it sounded pretty good. So I sent a note to the very wonderful Christopher, who said, sounds like a good idea as long as Max will be on the panel, which was not what we expected. And I have to say, since it's Saturday night, so we've been here for several days, and this is my 4th year, your 5th year, your second year. This is a panel that no other conference that I could think of would host, to have a 10-year-old on a panel and trust that it will go well. So I think it will go well. Well, to be honest, I thought this was going to be his debut, but he was pulled onto another panel just before this with Facebook, so now he's a celebrity. So, but he can still say he knew us when. So this person, I belong to him, just for full transparency, and couldn't be prouder or more delighted. And then once we had decided to do it, well, you could only ask the best of the best to join a panel like this, and that is. They weren't available. And they weren't available, so
I assumed she was talking about you.
So, well, no, it was mostly me. And so I sent a note to Jeff and to Mathew, and they kindly said yes immediately, which was really also a leap of faith, which I really appreciate.
I'm Mathew.
And this is, well, you must know them. They're celebrities, for goodness sake. And so I would never say that. So,
that was offside.
So what's special about this to me, actually, is it meant that I began to think about the topic and ask Max questions, and I learned a lot of things that I didn't know, and also things that I had made assumptions about but actually were wrong. So what we're going to do is, this topic is a topic for parents, for teachers, for journalists, for newspapers that are trying to figure out, and content providers who are trying to figure out how to reach a younger generation, for everyone who's worried about fake news, for anyone who's wondering if we have a literate audience in the younger generation. He's waving to his friends. And so I hope that at the end of this, if you think that what we've discussed is worthwhile, that you'll share it, because it's the first of its kind. We have not seen a discussion quite like this. And thank you and goodbye. No. So I thought what I would do is start out by asking Max some questions. And then Mathew and Jeff can also put what he's talking about in context, and if they have questions to ask him, then they can ask him. It's like having your own specimen, the representative of his generation. You ready?
No pressure.
No,
think so.
Yeah, okay, good. So one of the things is, can you tell us where you get your news from?
I think The Guardian, BBC, CNN, and New York Times.
New York Times, that's true.
No Fox News?
Not
Don't
so
watch
much.
it.
Don't watch it. No Fox News. And I mean, you've seen some of the programming that they have, like news for kids and stuff.
Yeah.
But you don't like watching it so much.
No, I don't like watching it because they kind of look down on us and they give less detail than we want. And I think we want more detail than what they give us.
So it's you think they dumb it down, or
Yeah.
and you want to go deep.
Yeah. I
Okay.
want to know more.
You want to know more. And do you prefer reading the news or watching the news?
I think watching the news, because you can see the background of it if it's you're watching someone who's in the area of what's going on, and
So
then,
if it's something international,
Yeah.
you can get
then
a
you
better
can
sense.
see.
And I mean, I know that when you read the news, you also, when you're reading something like The Guardian, and then they have a video with it.
Yeah.
Is that your favorite, or video only, or?
I like the reading part, but also the video because it gives it a little bit more context, probably.
But you prefer reading adult
Yeah,
news?
definitely. Yeah.
Okay. And would you watch or read the news if you weren't forced to do it all the time because mom and dad
Yeah.
watch it all the time? Well,
Yeah.
I think it's what we're doing, full transparency. So I mean, because you're in an unusual situation. Your dad, works all over the world, and
Because when I go to watch TV in the morning, the news is always
which is
on.
not very often.
The news is always on, so I watch news for about 15 minutes, don't realise it's been 15 minutes, and then I
Turn to
switch.
cartoons.
Yeah, cartoon.
And you like the news, but sometimes do you find it scary?
Yeah.
What do you find
Me
scary?
too.
Me too. Exactly. I think so far you've not said anything we don't agree with. What do you find scary about it?
I think sometimes, the watching the news is the scariest part, because like if you turn on the TV or whatever, you see just like anywhere a dead body or something like that, and it
So it's
just
a
really
surprise.
surprises you. But like you know it's going to happen.
Oh, sorry.
I just have a couple, and then because
Okay,
there are
sure.
a couple of things that
Sure.
I know that he wanted to say. And Max, when you first started becoming more aware of the news, you were sort
Yeah.
of interested, but
Yeah.
not so interested. So what is it that that we did to sort of get you more familiar with the news on Saturday and Sunday mornings?
I think. Don't know really.
Yeah, what do we watch on Saturday and Sunday mornings?
CNN,
And also
SNL, and
Yeah.
Samantha Bee.
Yeah. So one of the things that has really made a difference actually
Satire.
is satire.
Yeah.
And even though we watch Bill Maher,
Bill Maher.
Samantha Bee.
Randy Rainbow.
Oh, Randy Rainbow, he's very funny. And Samantha Bee, and she's excellent.
Yeah, she's great.
Go woman host. We're feminists in our household. You watch SNL and you
Yeah.
like the skits with
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin and stuff.
Yeah.
What else do you watch? The Daily Show sometimes.
Daily Show, yeah.
And so even though those are geared towards adults, and sometimes they have curse words of which you are not unfamiliar, and get quite excited. But it makes you more engaged with the news, because then
Yeah.
you read more and you understand more. One of the things that surprised me when we were talking about it was I asked you about how the other kids at school feel about news, because, and what you told me that surprised me was that kids on the playground, 6, 7 years old, they're talking about the news, right?
Yeah.
And so if something like what would cause a 6 or 7-year-old on the playground to talk about the news? Something big, or
Like something big like the Westminster attack, or like
ISIS?
ISIS,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Donald Trump.
Yeah, he's pretty scary. And Brexit, there was a lot of talk about Brexit, wasn't there, on the playground?
Yeah.
Because we live in England, just to be clear. And so, did the teachers talk to you at all about these scary things?
Not really.
No. So what happens is you pick up the news even at that young age because
Yeah.
the parents are talking about it and stuff.
And like, if it's like the Westminster attack,
Yeah.
we would pray for the people that have died.
Right, so at school what happens is the teachers don't talk to you about understanding the event, but the chaplain at chapel has you pray about it, but you're not
Yeah.
completely sure what you're praying about.
Well, no, like, we understand
Yeah,
that people have died,
yes.
so we're sad for their families and everything.
But not
But-
why.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't understand the background or the news. And
Unless you watch it or read it or something.
yeah, but sometimes you're overhearing it. When I listen to
Yeah.
Radio 4 in the morning and stuff,
Yeah.
so you get parts of it, but you don't get the whole story.
Yeah.
And so when you're that young, I think people. Do you think that people assume that kids almost don't hear it or don't pick it up or?
Yeah, I think they do. I think parents just put on the TV to like CNN or whatever, and the kids they think the kids just watch it for the heck of watching TV. But actually, I sometimes do that, but sometimes I actually take in what's going on and listen to it. And I ask questions.
Yeah, well, you asked questions when you were younger. Did you ask questions?
Don't think I did.
No, so you were picking it up sort of by osmosis.
Yeah.
But no one was explaining it to you or talking about it or helping you work through an understanding of it being scary.
Unless I said to you, like, this is scary.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
A couple times you've told me to turn it off because you found it scary.
Yeah.
So because I think there's an assumption, I certainly assumed that if something scary happened, the teachers might help you think it through in school, but that's...
Like, the teachers will say, oh, did you hear about the Westminster attack? And then we'll say, yeah, and then that will pretty much be the end of the conversation.
Okay, so that's useful to know. So, there's this assumption that either you're not getting any facts and you don't know anything, and so we don't bother talking to you because we think it's too scary. I mean, in a way, I wonder if it's a little like sex ed, not to make you uncomfortable. The growing up talk, yeah, sorry. But that we need to talk about things that are age appropriate at an age appropriate time, but not dumb it down or ignore it or pretend that it doesn't exist, right?
Yeah.
Before I turn it over, is there anything else that you would like me to ask you or that you want to say?
No, I don't think
you're
so.
pretty chill?
Yeah.
Good. Matthew,
That was a very good interview.
Thank you very much.
Excellent.
So, guys, before we turn it over completely, is there anything that you want to know?
Well, I wanted to know, this is a tough question, but let's say you're watching TV.
Yeah.
Maybe your mom isn't home or your dad's not home, or does that ever happen? No. Okay. Anyway.
Well, he's 10.
Yeah, I know. You leave me.
But I might be in another room.
Yeah, maybe you went to get something from the car. But do you?
No.
So what?
Maybe I'm in another room.
Okay. Let's say your mom and dad weren't there. Let's say you go to school. Who do you turn to? So you've seen something. How do you find out more about it? Do you ask? Obviously, asking your teachers probably isn't going to help.
Well, if you go to a new school and you don't know the teachers very well, I think maybe since you're new, they might talk to you or something like that. But also, I think you should talk to your friends about it. Yeah. See if they know anything about it, or
they're talking to each other.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Do you go online and look for information about whatever just happened, or about?
Sometimes, yeah.
And do you ever find, this is a tough question, I'm not sure how I would answer it, but if you do that, does it make it better or worse? Like, let's say
I think it would make it better because your friends know that you're possibly worried about it, so then they might help you in some way.
Because it feels like sometimes if you search for information about a scary thing, it can make it even scarier because you realize it's actually part of something much larger that's even scarier than you thought. Yeah. I find that.
Yeah. This is the most challenging interview ever.
It is.
But don't hold back. He's actually
no. Max
he's
is
very.
great.
You can ask him anything.
I'm
here.
Jeff was 10 and before the war. So
Which one?
We can barely 2 or 3 wars ago.
You're so young, Ingram. So Max, when we talk about news, we talk about these earth-shattering, we think, worldwide, big events, big politics, big economy, big all that. You've got your own life.
Yeah.
Right? Your own everyday life. And things like Westminster attack affect you and you're concerned about them. But I'm curious about, just in your everyday life, the things that interest you, the things you like to do, what your information needs are. Right? Forget about all this. I love The Guardian dearly and I work with them, and BBC. Forget all that. Just forget about the world. The things that you, as a really smart 10-year-old guy, care about. What do you care about? Start there. What are your interests? What do you like doing? What's your fun?
Fencing.
He does fencing.
Fencing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Friends.
what's
Friends,
right?
Your friends, yeah.
Anything else?
people I care about.
Yeah.
Do you play
Shows, movies, stars, music.
Video games? No?
No.
No
Definitely
No
not.
video games?
I'm like the meanest mother around. We have no, I mean, he watches TV, but we don't have any gaming stations or anything.
No Xbox or?
No.
Okay.
No. Does that make me bad?
Pretty sure
What do you
that's,
think, audience? Does that make her bad?
Actually, I think, well, Max, you know what the disadvantage of it is, that and then Max goes to school and plays on the playground and,
Yeah.
and
Doesn't
doesn't have
know
the
the
same
games,
pop
yeah.
culture.
Yeah,
Pretty sure that's
like,
child abuse.
All my friends like constantly talking about the new video game, like Horizon or
Yeah.
whatever.
which is pretty amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
yeah.
Thank you.
Does that make you feel bad when they're talking about that and you don't know
Dude,
anything
it's
about
not
it?
a psychology
Oh,
session.
I'm sorry. You said that from whatever I
Stick to
wanted.
the news.
Oh, okay. Anyway,
How
let's
does
move
that
on.
make you feel? Let's lie down here.
Let's move on. So I think what Jeff is getting at is, let's say you had a news outlet, newspaper, news website, video show that was dedicated to you. What
Yeah.
would be on it?
Well put.
Like news that if you're directing it to a specific country, do it towards that country and about that country.
But
like
what would you
if
be interested in reading? The question isn't if you could make a news station, what would it be? That's also interesting.
For
but,
you.
But if you wanted to turn something on and see
You
something,
could turn
that
on the
was
TV and
interesting.
see anything.
This is just for
What
you.
would it be
Yeah, what would it be?
about?
I mean, it can be the same stuff you watch
Yeah.
if it's nothing special. I mean, if you like CNN or
yes, CNN.
Yeah.
I mean, he likes. I think because you have an interest in sort of what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
So then my question would be, let's say you watch CNN.
Yeah.
You watch it a lot, you like, and you want to be informed about the news. What is CNN not doing or doing badly, or what could they be doing that could make it better?
Don't think they could do anything to make it better.
Well,
It's
I mean,
quite-
I think. I mean,
I think not to do so much like filming on dead bodies.
Okay.
And repeat it over and over and over
Yeah.
again, right?
and
Yeah.
and also, I mean, you have favorite shows on there. You love
Amanpour,
you love Amanpour, and you love.
Inside Africa.
Well, that's your favorite is Inside Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you like Wolf Blitzer.
Yeah.
You like Wolf Blitzer?
Yeah.
And we watch Kate Baldwin in the evenings.
Yeah.
Yeah. We like it when Sean Spicer, when Spicy has a press conference.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. But you like opinion shows too, don't you?
Yeah,
Yeah, you quite like
think
the ones
so.
where they are sitting around the table and talking and
But
analyzing
like,
things.
if it's like an opinion that's kind of boring, then it's not.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Yeah.
So, Max, do you, what about YouTube? Do you watch any YouTube?
Some.
Yeah.
Yeah, some.
I mean, are there, so I
Because remember, he's 10.
I know that.
And I'm his mother.
Selected. I get it.
What would you watch on YouTube?
Well, all the
I watch
Samantha Bee and
Samantha Bee.
Okay, yeah. Because I get to go to a conference now. My daughter, who's 20, only W, demands now that I take her with me to a conference called VidCon, which is for YouTube fans. And what I find really interesting is I want to go into your video interest. I want to try to figure out the form of news.
Yeah.
Because the form of news we have now is us writing 800-word articles. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
But
what
there's-
pays for your schooling, dear.
1,200.
Well, you have no editor, Matthew, I know. And so,
Shots fired.
Gentlemen, impressionable
Back to
10-year-olds. Can we just keep it friendly?
we love each other. But different forms of news, right? And we have so many new possibilities, so many new ways to do the news. I'm curious about what makes video such a good way to present news.
I think, as I said before, the background of it, because you can see where they are
The context.
and the context of it. But it's more interesting than reading.
Would you rather see? And you said you like opinion shows, so maybe that answers this question. But would you rather see a show or a clip video where it was people, say, at the place where something happened talking about it, or would you like to, or do you like to see
At the
news
place where it
anchors?
happened.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Think,
Yeah, that's interesting. But also, one of the things that that you said to me recently is you like it when you can dig deeper into stories. So
Yeah.
if you're reading something from the New York Times or you're reading something from one
yeah,
of
I
the
want
other
there to be like a hyperlink at the bottom. You click on it. Like if you want to find out more about this story, click on that. Then you get more on that story. And like if you don't want to know more on that story, you don't have to click on it.
So you like the suggested readings. If
Yeah.
you like this, then you should
Yeah.
read this. And do you click on hyperlinks that are in the story to dig deeper?
Sometimes, yeah. Unless they're like bad.
Do you use Wikipedia?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if something's going on and you say, I don't know what the heck that is.
Yeah.
Is that, or maybe I should ask the question differently. If you see something you don't know what it is, and you just want to look up and figure out what it is.
Yeah.
It was Matthew's question earlier about searching. Who do you trust? Besides, so you watch CNN and you say, I don't understand what's going on there. If you're going to go search for something, where is a good source?
Google. Because sometimes they give like little clips just before they give all the other links.
Recommend.
And that's quite good.
Yeah. And you trust that?
Yeah, I trust
The
that
top of-
actually.
And you're not on Facebook, right?
No.
Okay.
He's 10.
10.
Well,
Say.
what did I tell you about cheekiness? And,
It's okay.
It works. That was a good reward for good chickiness. That
I'm
was
okay
very
with
good.
it.
remember, you saw him on his first appearance.
I just want to say that there are lots of 10 and 11 and 12-year-olds on Facebook.
Well, that's true. I mean,
Yeah.
and we've talked about that
So my
because
friends.
because
yeah.
Facebook pretends that there's a age limit, but
Yeah.
they don't enforce it.
Really
Yeah.
good.
I'm hoping they'll raise that to 15 because I would be happy for him not to be on.
Are any of your
social-
friends on Facebook?
Yeah.
So
Same age as you?
Yeah.
So
The
what
ones
do you
that play
think about
video
that?
games?
Yeah.
There's a
Sorry.
relationship there.
Don't get him in trouble, his friends.
Well, what do you think about that? Is it what do they say about Facebook?
They say it's good,
Good.
I guess.
Yeah. So so we talk a lot too about how the internet is filled with a bunch of bad stuff.
Yeah.
There's good stuff and there's bad stuff.
Yeah. Like there's stuff that you can trust and stuff that you can't trust.
Right. And there's stuff that's lies and disgusting, and there's stuff that's true and wonderful.
And we've talked about e-safety.
Yeah.
Right. So that's
You've talked about what?
E-safety.
Okay.
Mom,
Yes.
how
Are we interviewing mom now?
now we are, yeah.
Oh, awesome. Perfect.
Who knew? How about Dad? Ask Dad.
Well, that's fine. What freaks you out about the internet?
Well, we're very internet based. I mean, so I mean, I use Twitter and LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And Max likes to keep track of how many LinkedIn followers I have.
Max, you're not on Twitter, are you?
No.
Snapchat?
Nothing.
Instagram?
Max, do it again.
WhatsApp?
No, he's really not on anything. I mean, he'll go on
They should.
mine a little bit and stuff, but I mean to look, but
Yeah.
and I think what I'm worried about is he also doesn't do gaming with friends from afar and stuff like that, because that's a really great place for sort of soft bullying and stuff. So I really don't need him to worry about that stuff at home.
No, and I think it's. We love the internet. We live on the internet. We do all this stuff on the internet. Max, you're obviously a very smart and discerning young man.
Yeah.
But there's lessons you're still learning, right? And I can see that. I think your folks want to give you the freedom and opportunity to learn, but also want to protect you.
But I think
Are there moments when you come to a site and say, "Oh, I shouldn't be here. Or this is not good"?
Yeah.
I mean, how right? You have to on the internet, right? So how do you, when you go to you go to a link,
Yeah.
do you notice who the link is going to? Do you, how do you, what skills are you learning to judge where you end up
where to
going?
go and where not to go.
I mean, if it's a website that you've heard of before and your friends trust it, and
Sorry.
Just ignore your mom there.
Just ignore.
And like if you need to ask your teachers,
Yeah.
then so if you need to ask your teachers, then don't go on the website. But like, if your friends trust it and your teachers trust it, then I think it's okay. And then, but if you've never heard of it before, then
Caution.
don't bother.
Okay.
But even when
It's
your
good
friends
advice,
trust
by
it,
the way.
I mean,
Yeah.
one of the things is that we've had notes home from school that there was something
About Musical.ly, yeah.
about Musical.ly, and all your friends
about
were
it?
using it or something, and the school wrote to us to warn us against it.
Oh, why?
Yeah,
Why? I didn't.
because some people in my school go on some of the girls' accounts on Musical.ly and post
Bad thing.
Insults and things?
comments.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not nice.
yeah.
Well,
No.
if it's on the if it's
I'm
on,
not ratting
Well, I
you
learn
out,
something
guys.
during every panel that
if
I'm
it's on the internet, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Well, and that's why we are quite protective. Because, again, I just don't think that, even though Max every once in a while says he'd like to do that,
Yeah, I think like the idea of Musical.ly is safe, but
Does everybody know?
I don't think it's a good idea as social media, because it's classed as social media because you can do
Can you
things.
explain what it is for people who don't know?
It's so you can video yourself singing songs, like it's karaoke basically.
And then share them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Share them with the whole world, really.
that
Unless you
that
have,
can
like, a
only
private
end in
account.
tears.
Well, it's really fun right up until the
It's not.
Yeah.
Except for the comments.
Like-
Yeah.
right the bullying
but-
part.
Unless you have a private account and you set it to have only people you know
Yeah.
look at your videos, then it's visible to the whole world. Unless, like, also private accounts are dangerous because people probably know you're on there, like hackers and stuff, probably know you're on there, and then they want to see your videos. They'll get into your account, look at them, and then they might even expose them to the world.
Knock it off.
I'm
Matt.
still his mother.
Knock it off.
So, Jeff, any other questions for the Max?
Two quick ones.
Okay.
It's 6 years from now.
Okay.
First, do the
16 for Mathew.
calculation. Exactly. No math questions,
10
please.
plus 6.
There you go.
Max.
That's my fault. Sorry. What do you think changes about your habits around news and the internet?
I think I'll be more interested in it, probably.
You're pretty darn interested now.
Yeah. Maybe you'll be less.
That'd be sad. Anyway, I think also there will be different news. And yeah,
Okay, one more question.
okay,
You want to be a journalist?
yeah.
Uh-oh.
But what kind of journalist do you want to be? You said the other
A
day.
good one.
You have to speak into the mic.
Undercover journalist.
Undercover.
Now we've blown his cover, but I think you'll look a little different by the time you want to do
Yeah,
that.
let's look at it.
Yeah.
And has it made a difference, do you think, in the way that you perceive journalism by coming to the journalism
Yeah,
festival?
I think it's more interesting to me now, and yeah.
Good. So I want to turn to you guys now that you've grilled the child. I mean,
First, Max, thank you.
Yeah.
oh
This-
well.
this is-
Oh, shucks.
So
How old are you again?
Maximilian, make it stop. So don't let it go to your head, love. So
Ask Jeff how old.
Do.
no, stop it now. Just
I don't have that many fingers. It would take too
stop it. I've lost control of my panel. Clearly, it's not because of him.
No,
it's
no.
because of them.
It's all Jeff's.
Exactly. All right, so boys, now listen. So here's my question. First of all, is there anything that he said that surprised you?
The part about not playing video games surprised me. But,
I play games, but
okay. I guess just the interest in news. I mean, I'm not used to it's been a while since I had a 10-year-old, but, and they were girls. I'm not sure if that's different, but, and it was a different time.
Yeah.
So there's way more news now than there has ever been, I think. So it's harder to avoid. So I was just interested that Max was interested in it, not just subjected to it like it's on all the time, but actually interested and to some extent even seeking it out, which is good.
Yeah, I think the interest is pretty amazing. With my kids, who are now 25 and 20, so they're not kids anymore, they got into news and politicized by Jon Stewart and then all of the comedy news that followed. And so satire really is what brought them into it. So they didn't have the kind of interest you had until they got that awareness in a way. So it's really interesting to me that you are interested in the news first and the satire kind of adds on.
Yeah.
And I would say our daughters who are 20s or close to it, when they were your age and a little older, we had a laptop near the dinner table, and we often turned to it when they had questions about whatever was happening in the news. If they heard something and they wanted to know more about it, we would look it up together, and I guess I was filtering the news because I would pick the links to look at, and then I would tell them a little bit more about, and I wish, to be honest, that your teachers were a little bit more open to doing that sort of thing.
So Matthew, you were the human Alexa or Google Home.
Siri or a little bit.
Do you guys have Alexa, Google Home?
No,
No, don't.
we want it.
No judging. We're not judging.
Asking a question and getting an answer.
That's called a parent.
Okay.
Ask a question. I mean, the one thing that
Yeah.
I can say that we do at home is we sort of practice radical honesty, don't we? So if Max asks a question, we always answer it, and you know, even if it's
Almost.
Pretty close. Yeah. And no, I mean really, it's just.
I'd like to know more about this.
No, I mean in news.
Why
and
did you do
Maximilian. And so even in the news and so on, I try to be as frank and in-depth as possible without getting over the top.
But I think part of the problem is, let's say Max was in the schoolyard, someone says people were blown up and ISIS has taken credit. What does that mean? You could spend hours just describing what ISIS is, what they're doing, who's in charge now, why they're doing that, what the campaign is related to. There's a whole lot of geopolitics in there. And so at what point would you stop? Like at what point do you stop giving as much detail? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
No.
I think too much detail is when you start wanting to actually go and see the scene. I think that is too dangerous. So.
Yeah, but I think also I'd rather give him the information and also with a little bit of analysis than have him be on the playground and have that happen. I mean, because also, where we live, it's very diverse, and it's and so he sees a lot of different cultures, a lot of different ways of doing things, and a lot of different approaches, and that really seeps into the interactions that he has. So it's important to us that he also have a sense of a sort of ethical north, and that if something happens or someone comments on something about the news in a way that he knows is not correct, then he's able to actually either give fact or back away from it or whatever. I'm not sure I'm explaining it correctly.
Do you explain things to your classmates when they have questions? Do you ever? No?
I don't think it's appropriate.
You don't think it's
Appropriate.
Yeah, but you're...
Also, they might not believe what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you sort of keep things a bit to yourself.
I'm interested in, let's say there was an explosion and people died. Yeah. Do you ever think that it's worthwhile to show that, like the actual impact, the bodies and so forth? Is it ever, or would you rather they didn't?
I think it would be okay to show one body that's not heavily injured and has internal bleeding and is incredibly harmed.
So not too much, not
Not
right.
too much like cuts and everything like that. I think that would be okay, but showing someone who was like maybe next to the bomb, that's not okay.
Because there was a picture, the picture I'm thinking of is there was a young boy who washed up on the beach,
You've seen that.
I have.
a refugee. It was Turkey,
Yeah,
I
it was a
think.
Turkish.
Yeah, and it was a very powerful image because he sort of
It was
represented
incredibly sad.
tens of thousands of people.
Yeah.
But it was very disturbing, obviously.
Yeah.
Dead children and so on. But so one argument was you should show it because then it gets across what is actually happening. The other opinion was you shouldn't because it's horrible. And
Yeah.
what do you think?
I think, like, if it's something that would be powerful like that, that's possibly okay for people to see. But if it's a dead body that is like
Just
a normal
gratuitous. Yeah.
dead body, and that's like really harmed, I don't think it's right to do that.
So if there's a bigger point that's being made other
Yeah,
than just
and I
there's
think
a
it
bunch of
also-
dead people.
But if they had a family, I think it would also remind the family that whoever it was is dead, and I think that would be really sad.
It is.
So, yeah.
It is really sad. I mean, the thing that surprised me the most that Max talked about was this dynamic of how young they are when they talk about the news, and that they're talking to each other, and we're not even really cognizant of that.
Yeah.
And so we need to do a better job of helping them work through this stuff rather than just assuming that it's not going on. The other thing that has been interesting to us is the role of satire in helping to get to understand it better and so on. And the other thing you have to remember is actually he lives in England, and so he's not had to deal with shootings in schools. And he doesn't do
I'm
these.
glad about that.
Yeah, I'm glad about it too.
And I'm also really glad that we don't have to do tests on it.
Well,
like
drills, yeah.
fire drills,
Yeah.
we do.
Right, but no live shooting.
But-
Yeah,
Like
not lockdowns and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think, I mean, to put it in context, that means that there are other kids who are exposed to things that are quite scary and feel very personal, and that you haven't had to deal with in quite the same way either.
And also, I think schools taking extra precautions, like if they see, which has happened recently actually, if they see someone dressed in all black, they tell them to go away. They
It
don't.
wasn't just that they were dressed in all black, but yeah, I mean, they were
Yeah.
it felt like they
In
were
the
sort of
end,
skulking around.
in the end, it was apparent.
It's
but,
okay.
You know.
But I think, but you were all, but what was interesting, exactly, in the end it was Jeff.
It was just a hipster, actually.
Exactly, yeah, the beard and the whole thing. No, but I think, but what was interesting about that also was it spread through school like lightning.
Yeah,
Everybody knew about it. So if something happened,
almost. Like
Ah,
the little kids, they.
you can't assume. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, you would
I
have
guess
known.
so.
So I think that's the other thing is that we don't completely get, and that's timeless. That's not about now or you know,
Yeah.
when we were kids. It was the same thing that you know something exciting happens or you know and it gets passed on and slightly twisted and twisted and twisted, and it's the same thing
Telephone.
with it. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I found that interesting.
Do you remember nuclear drills, duck and cover?
Well, that's
Yes, I'm that old, Matthew.
Yeah.
Me too.
Oh, really?
Me
I
too,
did too.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
And-
Even
and
in
I-
Canada?
Did we do it in Canada? No, I don't think
No,
so.
you didn't have to, no.
Maybe I just read about it.
But that's the interesting thing. I mean, when I was a kid, the boogeyman under my bed was Nixon. And for Max, he sometimes gets scared when he hears the news about Donald Trump.
Me
no?
too.
Yeah.
No,
No,
same
but,
here.
but like nightmares.
No,
I mean,
Yeah, no,
okay.
it's
Okay,
no,
well-
this is serious.
well, you don't go into your mom's bedroom and ask
No,
to be
that's-
No,
put
she
back to
voted
bed.
for. She voted for him, so
Oh,
that's.
good Lord.
She lives a ways away, so.
Then I can't help you. I'm
Your
sorry,
mom
Jeff.
voted for
but I
Okay.
think, I mean, but there is this thing of
Fox
actually,
News.
it feels really personal as well.
Yeah.
So Brexit,
Yeah,
that was upsetting for you.
Was it?
Yeah.
I really did almost cry when I heard that we're going to be split apart from the European Union,
Yeah.
and loads of things would have to change, and I'm still really angry about it, really. But so, whenever I think about Donald Trump, I try to make it seem silly, but
Like satire.
Which is
Like-
not hard.
thank you.
It is kind of silly.
Well, because but
What scared you about Brexit? What were
I think-
you?
The idea that I don't know actually.
I think, well, what you found worrying was, we travel so freely. Well, you
Yeah.
hold 3 passports, so for you,
Like, it's not.
you're German, you're British, and
Yeah.
you're American. But
Was it that Britain would be kind of all by itself instead
Yeah,
of part
isolated from, like, not isolated, but like kind of apart
Alone,
from
right.
the rest of the world, and that it would be kind of hard to get from place to
move
place.
around? Right.
And also, like, we still trade and stuff, but wouldn't get as much of the food that we get from different
you just like
countries.
stinky brie. But okay, so I want to open it up because there are a couple things that I'd like to know from all of you. I mean, if you have a question for Max or anyone else on the panel.
I think we have some kids in the audience as well. So
Yeah,
maybe,
we do.
Hi, guys.
maybe they have some questions.
And also, I mean, if your experience either as a journalist or as a parent or as an educator has informed the way you think about things, or if you have any ideas or suggestions.
Do we have mics?
Do we have mics for
You have a mic?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Jeff? He's like the ultimate panelist.
Jeff will be Oprah.
He's down with the people.
Oh, we've
good.
got a mic.
Oh,
Got a
sorry.
mic.
So
Anyone at all,
So there was
especially the kids.
there was someone in the front here with a question.
A question for you, Max. I have some fourth-year journalism students, and they're planning on launching a YouTube channel filled with journalistic content, especially for your age group,
Yeah.
8 to 12-year-olds. Would that be something that you would watch? Would you watch
I think if it
journalism on
was-
YouTube?
Sorry. I feel bad now. I think if
Just ignore your mom.
I think if it was content that everyone would really hear about, then yeah, I would watch it.
So not dumbed down then.
Yeah, not like enclosed from like just one country. It would be like have to be like major news, like Donald Trump and
Sort of universal.
ISIS. Yeah,
Right.
Right. And would you trust it the
Yeah,
same
I
way
think-
that you trust CNN and The Guardian?
yeah, maybe.
What would make you trust it versus not?
Like-
I mean, why would you trust
I think they would have to like seem quite honest about what they're saying.
it? And transparent.
And
about where it
transparent,
comes-
yeah.
Where it comes from.
I was just talking to folks from the Hamburg Media School, and they have a study coming out next week about millennials and the various German media properties that were aimed at millennials and how they haven't worked. And I think the caution is, and I think what we've heard more than anything else, I think from Max is, don't insult him, right? Don't insult his intelligence, or that talking. Yes, having more background. If there's references we make to Richard Nixon or something, you say, who the heck is that?
Oh, he knows who that is.
Okay, well,
I know.
you've heard your mother's nightmares. So there's a different informational flow, and there's a different relevance, and I get all that. But the other thing is, there's no such thing as a millennial. It is a demographic invention of marketers. And there's such a thing as 8 to 12-year-olds, but that doesn't mean that they all have the same interests, right, Max?
Right. Right.
You're friends on the school ground, and you have different interests.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
So that's the other thing. I think you don't just presume because you're 8 years old you're the same as every other 8-year-old, right?
Yeah.
There's a question back in the way back over there.
We used to have magazines. You ever read a magazine? Okay. We used to have magazines. Okay. But I mean on paper. So we used to have magazines for kids when I was little, and I hated them because...
Like highlights.
Yeah, because it was always just really dumb. Like the
Yeah.
stuff was really... So I sympathized with Max.
But what's
saying-
interesting also as well, and I did want to touch on it, is, things like Teen Vogue. My God,
Yeah,
they're doing a great job.
Yeah.
And now, and even though it's called Teen Vogue,
Do you ever read Teen Vogue? It's really good.
The politics is very good. There's
it's
a woman named
very
You can read it, you don't-
Lauren Duca.
Okay.
Lauren Duca is just
Yeah.
great.
Excellent.
She was
Yeah.
at my
She's
school.
amazing.
She was spoken at my journalism school
Excellent.
last week, and my journalism student. I've got a great picture online of my journalism students around her
Yeah.
in adoration
Yeah.
as a journalistic hero.
Yeah.
And
Teen
it's
Vogue's
not
doing
written
good work.
by teens.
no, and even though it's, so what I like about it is it's very brash and straight talking, and I think what's important is that they recognize that no matter the age, people care about issues and they want straight talk.
Yeah.
So please.
Hi, Max. So I've got a question for you about Brexit, because I noticed that you seem very interested in it, and I'm really fascinated to know, is there something in particular that you would have liked to have seen that you didn't see, or that you did see that really struck a chord with you in terms of news coverage of Brexit? Because it's quite complicated, it's quite complex for all of us to get our heads around, and I think that if we can find ways of making it more interesting and more relevant to a wider group of people, all the better.
I don't think there was anything really that they didn't cover.
From what you, so I mean, but you got your news from several different sources, and
Yeah.
we talked about it a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
So we knew that he was interested, and so we made sure that, he read a little bit from the FT, from, various news sources.
Who was the best source?
I think maybe the BBC.
Yeah.
Good answer.
But also YouTube videos.
You should, by the way, declare yourself.
Yeah.
He didn't know
Who do you
that.
work
He
for?
wasn't a plant, but he's from the BBC.
Full disclosure,
Oh.
I'm the social media editor for the BBC.
Exactly.
Oh.
Well done.
Good answer.
I'm glad you said that, but I didn't prompt you.
No. You don't. I mean, but that's true because it was very measured and it was
Yeah.
clear.
It was
Yeah,
good. And they did a lot of coverage on the ground as well.
on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's be clear. I still don't understand Brexit.
Max can explain it afterwards. Yeah.
Do the kids have any questions?
Hi,
Go ahead.
I'm Gülin. I'm from Turkish verification platform Teytork. I have two questions. First one, in Turkey, younger people like Max age use Snapchat more than any other social media platform, I think. Do you use Snapchat or your friend use Snapchat for news?
Just a reminder.
Just a reminder.
A public service announcement from the.
Okay, but in Turkey...
But again, I mean, I think if you had someone a little bit older, maybe. But I mean, again.
So no.
Okay, my
Your
cousin...
friends?
My friends, I think I think they have a group, a year 6 group on Snapchat.
Do they
Yeah, they use it together and they're really nice to each other, I think.
are or aren't?
Nice
Have you
to
ever-
each other.
Have you ever seen it?
No, I don't use text.
No, I mean, like, looked at their phone.
No,
Max doesn't
no.
know how else to tell you. He
No, I just wondered if he had
doesn't
seen
use
it. I wondered if he had seen it
No,
on
I've
someone's
never-
phone.
I think part of what Matthew's asking is sometimes kids say they do things to seem cooler they don't actually do.
Yeah, but like I think a lot of them talk about it, so it must be real. So to answer your question,
No.
no.
I have,
Was there another
I have
question?
one more question.
Please.
Okay.
Countries like Turkey, I mean, many bombings, explosions
Yeah.
we faced. Journalists and media outlets sometimes use children or make interview with children who face bad things like bombings, explosions.
Yeah.
And what do you feel when you see the children or child on the news or on TV?
I feel really sad. I know we can help them, but I don't think we're doing all that we can to help them. I think we need to send over more help.
Nobody's asking for policy recommendations at this time.
Okay.
But I think, do you find them relatable, or, I mean, do you find it
Yeah.
interesting when you, or
I
do you
think
feel more empathetic?
When they talk,
Yeah,
I
you can.
understand that
Yeah.
what they're going through, really.
Does that answer? Good.
Cool.
There's
back.
Someone right behind you? Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Do you watch YouTube celebrities, and do you trust them when they discuss news?
I've never watched a YouTube celebrity, at least I
even know
don't
what
think.
it is.
It's basically like PewDiePie.
Like what?
PewDiePie.
People.
I see.
We'll explain it to you later.
I think it's a learning session for
You should
all of us.
definitely not watch PewDiePie. Definitely.
No,
Yeah,
no,
so
you don't watch anything
I
like
don't.
that.
No.
Or
I think this is what I learned at VidCon. There are, I think, some YouTube celebrities who are good. You definitely would be selective.
Yeah.
There are John and Hank Green run great educational stuff, and I think that the people they recommend I would trust because they care about kids and they're very good at this. But yes, it would be highly selective when it comes to that, and let mom and dad.
In fact, there's someone who does news, that's all they do. They sort of interpret the headlines and
Yeah.
talk about the news. I can't remember their name, but I watched some and they were quite good.
Okay, great. In the way back, there's somebody?
Back.
Then we'll go back over
And
this.
then we'll go over there.
So I have a question for Max and Mom. Separate questions. So you mentioned, Max, that you're interested in analysis, and I'm curious, outside of regular news sources, if there are bloggers or other sources that you enjoy or like reading.
Those are your friends
Friends
from WordPress.
from WordPress.
Do they have blogs?
Those are the guys from WordPress.
Oh, hi.
Do,
They
Thanks
don't
for
have to be
promoting
WordPress
my
blogs.
panel.
do they have blogs? Or do they write on?
Do kids or?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. I've seen some, but like not on news or anything like that. Probably, I've seen one a few days ago on some toys. Like they were recommending like toys and games and stuff, but
Would you want to do that, or it's not something you would be interested in?
I think it's a possibility that I would like to do it, but only on things that are actually important and like
That you know about?
that I know about. Like I know a lot about that I can talk for at least 10 minutes on. So
10 minutes.
So have you thought about starting a blog or a website or
no,
doing videos now?
no.
And then, quick question for Mom. So it does seem like that you do tailor the content that he does seem to receive, and you suggest articles and videos and stuff that he should watch. What would your reaction be if he decided that he prefers certain news channels that may be of a certain slant? Like, if he starts going towards more conservative or start, left-leaning news sites, would that be of a concern to you, or is that something that you would support?
Well, we're a left-leaning household, so I know that comes as a surprise after all of this. But and so, I mean, it's true that he tends to get access to things that we're watching or reading, but also we make a point of making sure that he's, BBC. He likes the BBC and so on. So no matter what, he's going to get influenced by what we're doing, but we also feel like it's really important for him to understand where that's coming from. So if Max makes a declaration about Trump of some kind,
That's probably stupid.
Maximilian,
I'm talking about myself.
you're not stupid. Anyway, just never mind. I'll parent later. But if he makes a comment about Trump, which doesn't seem clearly based in fact, then we ask him to go back and explain to us why he feels that way, and where he gets that from. So we make him verify himself in a way, because it's important to us that he not just spout random opinions without actually being able to back it up. And I think, but also, I write columns, my husband writes and is a professor and so on. So to us, citing your sources.
I need to have facts on
You have
it.
to have facts,
Yeah.
right? So
I need to back it.
But let's say as he got older, he started to think maybe, not Trump, but maybe he decided that Brexit wasn't such a bad idea, and he could cite
if he
people
can make a
that he believed in that.
if he can make a logical answer to it, then it's his decision. I mean, in the end, we're not big on telling him what to be when he grows up, or how to feel about things, because we're a talking household. We talk about things and everyone has to make up their own mind. So for now, of course, we're going to influence a lot of what he's thinking and so on. But you can tell he's pretty independent-minded. And because we give him access to primary sources and analysis and so on, if he disagrees with us, he really doesn't hesitate to say something. There's a chap here. That's right, isn't it?
What? Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Thanks. Well, first of all, I had a very restrictive mom as well, so I kind of... Yeah.
And look how well you turned
I
out.
never had
Look
like
how well you
a
turned
video
out.
game station
It's just
or
not
anything.
mom, it's also dad. It's not
so,
completely
no,
me.
but I want
We
to
can relate.
ask, do you think it's like an institutional problem that like children aren't taken seriously when it comes to news? And who do you think is responsible? Is it the parents' responsibility? Is it the teacher's responsibility? What do you think? And the question goes to all of you. Thanks.
I think it's the child's responsibility to keep up on what's going on in the world, and if they don't want to watch it, then that's their fault for not keeping up.
Oh,
Wow.
that's a surprising answer. Again, I'm finding this very educational. So you feel like it. I mean, but what if a kid's not interested in the news, but a parent wants them to be more understanding of the news? Then
Well, then the kid's not going to learn anything, is he?
I guess not.
So in the last panel you were on, the topic, as I think, was news literacy.
Yeah.
This idea
Yeah,
of should we
was.
teach that as a topic in school? Do you think that's a good subject matter, or is it, or not?
I think it is actually quite a good subject, but I don't think it would be very popular. I think if there was a choice between
I think you're right.
a video game
I think
club or that
But
Or
I,
the news club.
video game club.
but I would say, I think it is important. Maybe lots of kids wouldn't like it. Lots of them don't like math either. But I know, listening to you on the last panel, and certainly your comments about your teachers not really discussing things with you,
Yeah.
I would much rather that they at least tried to give even younger kids a little bit of help if they did want to find out more about it.
Yeah, a little
What
bit of a
sort of
booster.
things could you do?
Yeah.
And what sort of tips could they give, like, say, look for the more information link, or look and see if a website is one you've heard of, or ask your mom and dad, if that's something that's true or not. You think that'd
That
be
sounds
good
like
or
a
no?
worthwhile recommendation.
Good?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's right, and because I mean, of course, a lot of kids will come from places where their parents might not be interested, but they still need to know stuff. I mean, it's
Yeah.
also probably part of civics in a way.
Darius.
there's
Should be.
very-
We got
It should
one
be.
from a kid.
Now, there's a very important question for
All right.
Darius.
What age do you think kids should be allowed to watch YouTube?
Okay.
How old are you?
10 as well.
Same age as me.
What do you mean, supervised or unsupervised?
Both, actually.
Okay.
10 and a half.
He's almost 11.
Both.
But so love. The
What age?
question is.
Yeah, I know what the question is.
Oh, sorry. Just sit back now.
I don't know. That's a really good question, though. I think.
Well, okay. Can I just ask you something? I mean, you've had some experiences with friends where they wandered into a place and then somebody's feelings got hurt, and that was
Yeah, I think 9-ish, maybe 8.5.
with oversight.
Without oversight.
Without oversight.
Max?
Wait, actually, sorry. No, I shouldn't say that.
No, I mean, but for
if
real,
that's
I
what
mean,
you
you
think.
and your friends were watching something, and then you wandered into an area that probably wasn't a good idea.
Yeah.
It made someone
Like an
else
area on
uncomfortable.
YouTube?
Yeah, and it
Okay.
made somebody uncomfortable.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so that's probably not a great thing.
If someone.
So supervised
Yeah,
Yeah.
around 9ish.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
then-
Max,
Yeah.
there are advertisers now, big advertisers, The Guardian
Mm-hmm.
and the big ad agency and the BBC pulled their ads from YouTube because their ads were ending up next to stuff that made them uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but this is part
Yeah.
of free speech. There's some bad stuff there.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that YouTube's all awful. There's
Yeah.
great stuff there.
Yeah.
But I think that's where the supervision comes in.
Yeah, I think so.
There are certain people I would trust immensely. These guys, John and Hank Green, they do great educational stuff. They really make it different. That kind of stuff, I think you could trust. And if you know whom to trust there, I really say go to mom and dad or teachers to make sure, because one click away is something that even
Yeah.
The Guardian can't stand.
I mean, I have an app called Kids YouTube, which keeps you away from things that are dangerous, like
That's true.
videos that
They're
have
inappropriate.
inappropriate. Yeah.
But then we're trusting
And
that
then-
YouTube has found those things for you
Right.
and that they've curated it in a way that I would agree with.
Yeah. So far since I've had the app, it's really good. It keeps me away from things that aren't bad. And then for unsupervised, I would go for 10ish, so my age or so.
Man
Would
of the
you?
world.
Good answer.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, okay, I'll take that under consideration.
Good question though.
Good question, yes.
Very good question.
Yeah,
Thank
very
you for
good.
asking it. Well, we're at time, and I can tell that there's a lot more that we could talk about, but there's one more question from the front. Yeah,
Oh.
Can we just take the last question because it's all in the family?
And the rest can be asked outside if you want to.
Thank you.
Okay, Max, this is for you. When I was growing up in school, one of the things that we used to have first thing in the morning, all the class was together, was something called current events. And you came
Coach
into
what?
current events.
Oh yeah, okay.
So it was either a couple of kids in the class were to bring in the next day something that they read in the paper, saw in the news, and then it was discussed. Is that something that you would like to see
I
being
would
brought
actually.
to schools?
Yeah, that would be quite good. Bringing little stories about the news and stuff. Yeah.
Or maybe when you go back to school, you should suggest that and start that up.
Well,
And that's
right.
how
Max
it
has
gets
to do a
started again.
presentation to the entire school about his time on the
Yeah.
panel.
Wow. Be sure to mention me.
He's more worried about that, I think, than he was about this. Well, I'm really appreciative
Thank
of
you, Max. Thank
everybody's
you.
patience and kindness, and if you have any suggestions, we'd love to hear it. So you can tweet at me or Facebook at me.
Lucy, is today a special day for someone in your household?
It's my birthday.
All of you are going to sing.
No.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday
to you.
Happy birthday, dear Lucy, Mom. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you all very much. I'm really touched, and I like that my new name is Max's mom. Thank you all so much. You did great, huh?
Good job.
And you guys too. Really kept it nicely focused. There's the mother.